Joining me now to discuss all of the ins and outs here, National Editor at The Australian, Dennis Shanahan, and Sky News contributor Chris Yorman. Dennis, I will preface this and say that all of these polls are within the margin of error. But I mean, I do favour Newspoll, and it confirms that sense you and I have discussed here on the show, that there's been a loss of momentum for the coalition. That's very much due, I think, to Labor calling off the election, heading into Cyclone Alfred. And I didn't get a sense that the coalition had a plan then to fill the next couple of weeks before the official kick-off. We've had that official kick-off. We're into the first official week. Give us your read.
Well, I think that the polls, one interesting thing about the polls is how uniform they are. They're all saying it's very tight. They're all saying, as you would expect at the beginning of an election campaign, an improvement for the government. This is one of the advantages of incumbency. We've just come off the back of a budget. So, yes, you would expect that there would be a lift in support for Labor. The coalition did lose momentum. I think Peter Dutton put a bit of juice back into the tank when he suggested halving petrol excise. So there was a bit of a boost there. Certainly within the parliamentary Liberal Party, there was a bit of a feeling that they had started to get back on track. So I think overall, the polls are telling us exactly what we've thought for the last 3 years, or at least the last 18 months, and that is the campaign is going to decide the election, that people are switched on, that there may be a number of people who have made up their decision, made up their mind, they know who they're going to vote for. So this is going to be a very tight and difficult to predict campaign. I think we've seen them start where you would expect. Anthony Albanese attacking Peter Dutton at every opportunity and mentioning Medicare at every second opportunity, whereas Peter Dutton is pushing on energy, particularly energy prices and gas. So I think all pretty much as we would expect, and it'll be very interesting to see the polls week by week over the next 5 weeks.
I'll pull apart energy in a moment, but Chris Yorman, I mean, you know, the budget was only last Tuesday. We're not even a week out from the budget. They spent hundreds of billions of dollars and they haven't even got a dead cat bounce, according to Newspoll. I mean, 46% of those surveyed, that's about half, saying they've got no idea if it'll be good for the economy. A lot say it won't be either.
No, Peter, but if you look at the polls, you could say within the margin of error that nothing much has changed since the last election. I'm told that Anthony Albanese is feeling fairly confident, and I thought for a long time the most likely outcome of this election is a minority Labor government, and I'll tell you why. Labor only needs to lose 1% across a uniform basis across the country in order to lose its majority. But in order for the coalition to form a minority government, it's got to get a 3.5% swing to it. In order for it to govern in its own right, it's got to get a swing in excess of 5%. Now, that would be an historically large swing. So I still think, looking at all the polls, the most likely outcome is a minority Labor government. But it's not written. Everyone has said that this campaign is going to be important. I do think that there's a very big soft vote out there, at least that's what the pollsters tell us. But I think that the undercurrent of all of this is Trump presidency. I think that Donald Trump is unsettling the world. People are looking to what's gone wrong with the campaign for the coalition. I think that incumbents now, and particularly we're seeing this in Canada, are doing well out of Trump as the US president.
Let's go to the point that he was pushed on today, Dennis, the Prime Minister, about entering into a coalition with the Greens. I played that comment a little bit earlier. I mean, he's not going to be able to rule it out. It'll come back to haunt him, like Gillard's famous, there'll be no carbon tax under a government I lead pledge, because it's every likelihood on these polls he'll need Adam Bandt to survive.
Oh, yeah, look, the Prime Minister's playing with words. It's a bit like before they changed the tax, saying, oh, there are no plans at this stage. The Prime Minister said today, and he said it previously, he will not go into a coalition with the Greens. That is, he's not going to sign an agreement. He's not going to be in partnership with the Greens. But does that mean he's going to refuse to take Green support if he needs Adam Bandt to actually become Prime Minister again? Of course not. And is he going to put the Greens last in the various seats? Of course not. Because if he puts the Greens last, Labor tends to lose. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't want to fight the Greens. He is fighting the Greens tooth and nail, particularly in Brisbane. 2, possibly 3 seats there. Labor wants to get back from the Greens. Melbourne, another issue for the Greens. But all of these seats are being played about by various other issues, including Gaza and Palestine, particularly in Melbourne. Also, the reaction to the budget. It was stronger amongst younger voters, which you would expect for Labor. But that still doesn't mean that they're going to get a shift from younger voters, from younger Green voters to the Labor Party. So it's all about who can win in particular seats, and it's not about nationwide views. The Prime Minister today said, oh no, those pesky preferences, they're not a matter for me, they're a matter for the party organisational wing. Yeah, the other one's got bells on it, PM. So yes, we are going to see a fight between the Greens and Labor in particular seats, but ultimately, if it means government, Anthony Albanese will accept Green votes.
I want to underscore the fact that it is cost of living and daylight that's turning votes in this election campaign, and overwhelmingly the issue on cost of living comes down to power prices, because everyone pays them. Everyone pays a power bill, and it's a huge input cost, particularly for small business. Let's listen to the Prime Minister now about his own energy modelling and what he said to support that modelling not so long ago.
Our energy policy offering is all out there. Reputex modelling was Reputex modelling that they put out. Our policy,
target based off that modelling, and your 82% target. Why are they still your targets?
Thanks,
if you're
Greg.
now distancing yourself from the model?
I hope when you get the chance on the next leg, where I assume you'll be following around, to ask Peter Dutton what his 2030 target is.
This is the most comprehensive modelling ever done for any policy by any opposition in Australia's history since Federation.
Chris Yeoman?
Well, Peter, let's get this straight, right? Labor commissioned that modelling. That modelling would not exist unless the Labor Party paid for it. It was the basis of its entire energy plan. It's like a father saying, ooh, where did that kitty come from? And by the way, they clung to the corpse of that policy as energy prices continue to rise. In 2022, they continued to say there'd be a $275 cut. In 2023, they said that there would be a cut. In 2024, they said it. As far as I know, Chris Bowen has never actually repudiated that $275 figure. And as subsidies were applied, they then reversed the argument and said, oh, look, we're taking taxpayers' dollars out of your pocket to give back to you. And now, guess what? Electricity prices have fallen. You could not make this stuff up. And the other thing about that modelling was it was dead on arrival. Through the course of 2021, anyone who knew anything about energy would have been watching the coal price, because, of course, that really matters on what sets the price of electricity, because despite what the government keeps saying, wind and solar, the lowest cost electricity generation, doesn't set the electricity price because it's a marketplace. The fuel costs will always matter. The Labor Party modelling locked in $80 a metric tonne, the long-run price. Well, guess what? By the time the modelling was released, it was at $300 a metric tonne. By the time the election was called, it was at $400 a metric tonne. It had gone over $500 by the time the election finished, and yet the Labor Party said that it would be delivered. So I don't know how you begin to describe something when you get to this point. You can say something's a spin, but I think you need to use a whole other description about continuing to cling to a policy and then, by the way, rebasing things to a subsidy is an electricity price cut when you do it for years.
It's damning, I tell you what. Yeah, just before we go, Dennis Shanahan, campaign number, how many for you? What number federal campaign is this for you?
It's 13 on the trot for the Oz, but I did do a couple of others when I had another life. So it's probably up 14 or 15.
And Chris Yorman?
I've been doing them every year since 2006, but like Dennis, in another life, back in the 1990s for the Canberra Time, I followed a few then. So, you know, I'd have to sit down and add things up because I wouldn't want to be accused of making up numbers, Peter.
Not at all. I just want to underscore that point for my viewers at home that you two gentlemen have got the runs on the board and you know what you're talking about. Thank you for joining me tonight.